today.
Well, it has to be very exciting for him. As you pointed out to me off the air before, this has to be just a tremendous draw for recruiting. Why would you not want to play on a facility like this? And as you're looking out on the field right now, we've got the graphic on there. You're seeing an ice field. That could be almost anywhere. This is a beautiful brick structure. It's a great brick and mortar structure where you have a concession stand. You have the fans set back on the field where it feels a little bit more like a big-time college or pro-type facility. To the scale, obviously, it's a seating for 2,500 here, 2,000 on the home side, 500 on the other side for the visitors, and then a lot more could ring the stadium on the grass, as you might be able to see a little bit in the upper right of your screen. If you can't see it right now, you certainly will during the game. But it's going to be something that's just going to feel big time compared to what you're going to see in most other Division III facilities.
And right now you can't see it on your screen, but F&M, they come out of the tunnel, so they're basically in the pit, and lined up on both sides are both the men's lacrosse team captains and the women's lacrosse team captains, as well as a couple of alumni, and President Porterfield and Patty Epps. The lacrosse team's also going to play here in the spring. So, Phil, you and I are going to be back here in March and April doing the games from this booth. A lot of other recreational use as well. And I can't even tell you how many recruits are going to be coming here and just drawn in by not only this magnificent stadium, but today, just the vibe that's going on. This crowd is full, but if you look to the left out in the grassy area, there's a huge tailgate going on, and that is full as well. It's alumni weekend, homecoming weekend. Of course, a lot of people coming in. Phil, it's just a great environment right now. And, all game you're going to be able to see people bustling around. And it should be a good game as well. We have to talk about the product on the field.
Well, there's no question. It always is, or almost always is, when these two schools hook up lock horns in football, Franklin and Marshall and Dickinson. Dickinson under first-year head coach Brad Fordyce, I think starting to exceed expectations. They've won 2 of their last 4. They only won 1 game all of last season. So Dickinson trying to turn things around. They're a program that's hoping to be on the upswing. Franklin and Marshall has to have a rival like Dickinson for an event like this. It just wouldn't be the same, with all due respect, if they were playing Juniata, if they were playing Mcdaniel. It had to be Dickinson that's here. It's Dickinson and then Gettysburg 3 weeks from now. Those should be the teams that F&M welcomes in first. And for Dickinson, they're always a dangerous opponent, even when they are a team that you would think of as the underdog. Dickinson and F&M recruit against one another. They have kids that come from the same schools. They know each other. And when they are on that field between those white lines, at least for those 60 minutes, they don't like each other.
It seems like every single sport, the athlete out of high school is looking at both Dickinson and F&M, and no matter which way you go, even if you don't go there, there's always that thought in your mind of those two schools. And you're right, these two teams, they're rivals. They don't like each other. Dickinson, though, you mentioned those 2 wins, Phil. They're coming off of a great win against Mcdaniel at their homecoming, a 13-10 win. They took Mcdaniel all the way in the 4th quarter and didn't let them score for the final 8 minutes of that game. They scored 6 points in that 4th quarter and ultimately going on to win that 2nd game of the season. So, they have some experience under their belt. They're getting better. Robert Geis, their young quarterback, he's been given the starting role. And it's going to be a great game. You can't overlook these rivalry games. 2 years ago, you mentioned they came to Spinagle-Williamson Field, and Dickinson beat F&M at home when F&M was a little bit of a better team. So we'll see how it rolls here. You can't take these guys lightly, and John Traxel always has them circled on his schedule.
Well, we're now going to send it down field side as the captains for Franklin and Marshall have taken the field, and they are flanked by many of the luminaries, if you will, from Franklin and Marshall Athletics, as well as school president Dan Porterfield. So I think we're just about ready for the beginning of the opening ceremonies to begin the new history of Franklin and Marshall football at Shadek Stadium.
Representing Dickinson, Billy Berger and John Minakazi. Diplomats captains Michael Sullivan, Talib.
Our
right, gentlemen, shake hands and introduce yourselves, please. This is Larry Shattuck. Stadium is named after him. This is Coach Gilbert. Okay, Mr. Shattuck, would you be kind enough to show them the coin? Heads is going to be the facade of the stadium. Tails is the other side. Okay. Dickinson, you're the visitors. What would you like to call, sir? Tails it is. It is a tails. What would you like to do, sir? You want to defer? Dickinson wins the toss and will defer. Franklin and Marshall, you want the ball? What goal would you like to defend? Defend the scoreboard and kick this way. Franklin and Marshall over here, please. Franklin and Marshall will receive kickoff. Good luck, gentlemen.
Heck of a way to open up the first football game set to be played on Tom Gilbert Field, Shadek Stadium, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Gorgeous new facility and the home of the Franklin and Marshall Diplomats. Alongside Jack Keffer, I'm Phil Soto Ortiz. An absolute privilege to be here. But now that's all done with, and Franklin and Marshall needs a win today. Dickinson trying to get things going, trying to have a very successful first season under Brad Fordyce. They've won 2 of their last 4, but F&M, they are still, after last week, 2 weeks ago, their last game, lopsided loss, 45-7 against Johns Hopkins, but nevertheless, still tied for first place.
Yeah, that's a good sign for F&M. In their remaining 4 games, 3 of those teams are in the bottom half of the league. The one remaining game is obviously Ursinus, who is tied with them for first place in the league. Dickinson, Gettysburg, 2 teams at the bottom they can beat, but they have to stick to their game plan and take these guys seriously. Can't let them get away with it. Dickinson would love to play upset in a big homecoming game. We'll see what F&M brings to the table after 2 weeks of no action.
Dickinson deferred. Jeremy Walsh would kick it off. Lammers and Deering back to receive, and it will be Lammers to receive the first kickoff at Shadek Stadium. Gets to the 30, breaks a tackle to the 40, and out to the 41-yard line. The kicker, Walsh, brings him down. 1st and 10, F&M for the first time on Tom Gilbert Field. All the pomp and circumstances over, and it is time to play some football. Tanner Erisman leads the offense onto the field for the Diplomats, the junior signal caller, leading the Centennial Conference in passer efficiency. Several other categories as well. He'll have Talib Gerald in the backfield with him, Freddie Perry and Dylan Alderfer receivers along with Kevin Lammers. And it looks like KJ Pretty is out there as well. Not expected to go. We'll see what he can do. First down and the give, running left, and Gerald is hit right at the line of scrimmage and put down. Big stick made out there by Ryan Lataraka. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, Dickinson, their defense has struggled a bit this year. They're giving up almost 300 total yards of offense and 133 yards rushing. This is going to be a big day for Talib Gerald on this turf field.
Harrisman in the shotgun, ball on the left hash. He gives it to Talib, running right up the middle. Gets through the first level and out to the 48-yard line. A pickup of 6. That'll bring up 3rd and 4. Let's take a look at the offensive line from left to right. Brian Denoncourt, Phil Weiser, Brandon Lowe, A.J. Gasser, and Tim Fink. And the tight end is Tyler Schubert. Red Devils go with a 4-2-5 defense up front. This is a good crew. Thomas Naka, John Minicozy, Justin Schettino, and Arturo Atkins. The linebackers, James Turner and Tyler Heisey. We'll talk about the secondary in a moment. 3rd and 4 for the Diplomats. Gerald, 3 wideouts. Dropping straight back, Erisman dumped over the middle for first down yards to Pretty. Makes a nice move at the 45, gets down to the 42. 10-yard pickup for KJ Pretty. He appears okay on that play. It'll be 1st and 10 F&M. That's secondary for the Red Devils. The safeties are Lataraka, Matt Butts, and Jordan Hollander, with Taj DeFrance and Will Peck manning the cornerback spots. First down for F&M. And they're in Dickinson territory. Dickinson wearing new uniforms this season. And they're handsome. Erisman takes the snap. Out into the flat, caught, Pretty, and he gets about 10. He'll be very close to another first down.
Boy, how relaxed did Tanner Erisman look on that throw. So confident that he was going to get 8 yards on just a quick route to KJ Pretty. We talked before the game about how F&M switching to this turf field from Smenango-Williamson, the grassy field. It's going to play a factor for this Diplomats offense, but I think in their favor. They're an explosive bunch.
It is 2nd and very short, out half a yard. They'll give it to Gerald, running up the middle. Not much. Second effort, he'll have the first down. Still on his feet and finally tackled at about the 31-yard line, a pickup of 2. And F&M didn't even need 1. 1st and 10 F&M. The stands on the near side seat 2,500. They are not perfectly packed, but they are pretty full. And you could hear the sound that they made when the Diplomats came running through the tunnel. Something that was not a feature of Spennaga-Williamson Field. Or is not a feature, it still stands. 1st and 10. Gerald bounces to the left side to the 25, throws a stiff arm and gets down to the 20. Picks up 11 and another first down for F&M. Good push by the offensive line. F&M on the move.
Well, that offensive line was definitely beaten up against Johns Hopkins 2 weeks ago, and John Troxel said it best. Thank God for the bye week last week to give these guys 2 weeks off to recover from a very physical battle against the Blue Jays. Obviously, a big defensive line down in Baltimore, and also just for the rest of his team to get some healthy bodies back on the field.
Man goes in motion, and they give us to Gerald. Reverses field, he's got room on the right, inside the 20, to the 15, lowers the shoulder and gets down inside the 14. Tackle was made by Butts, but a gain of 6 for Talib Gerald, who had a rough game 2 weeks ago, and he's looking a lot better now, and it could be what you were talking about, Jack.
Yeah, Gerald only with 22 yards on 14 carries against Hopkins, but he can't make that cut on a grass field at home. He can on the turf. He's in traffic, and then all of a sudden, boom, switches out to the right and picks up a good amount of yardage on that run.
Alderfer and Lammers wides of the left. Pretty on the right. That's the near side of the field. 2nd and 3. Jet sweep and some more room for Gerald to the 10. Hit at the 5. And out of bounds inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal for F&M. And by the way, out there, if you see a little yellow mark, that is not a flag. There are soccer lines on the field that have yet to be fully painted on. You see a couple of little angle markers for the boxes for soccer. So if you see those out there, it's not a penalty flag.
Yeah, in the creation of this turf field, they said, you know what, why not throw some soccer lines down on this field? They have the men's and women's lacrosse and, of course, the football field.
3 wideouts on 1st and goal from the 4. Gerald in the backfield. And it's play action. Airspin for Pretty in the end zone, broken up. Nothing called. And it's an apparent injury there. Will Peck broke it up, but well, he looks like he's in some pain.
Yeah, it was grabbing what looked to be his left shoulder, and
exactly.
He's still down there right now. But it was a great play from Peck to break up that pass and get in the middle. He's just struggling. It's going to be him and KJ Pretty all afternoon.
Harrisman tried to hit him on the slant, and he is good on those. Got a big body, protect the ball. 2nd and goal. Harrisman's going to keep this one. Bootlegging, left side, touchdown. The first touchdown in the history of Shadek Stadium belongs to the nearby kid, Tanner Harrisman out of Penn Manor. 6-0 F&M on top, and Harley Whitholm will attempt the extra point.
Well, it's just an easy run there for Harrisman. He clears the line all the way down the left side. And good work from F&M to get that first score on the drive.
Freddie Perry puts down the snap, and Harley Wedholm puts it up and through. 10-11 to go in quarter number 1, the first quarter of football in the history of Shadek Stadium. Franklin Marshall leads Dickinson 7-0. You're watching Franklin Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. Absolutely beautiful day. I hope you can get that on our broadcast, but you're getting a pretty good look at it right there. It's a very different backdrop than what you're used to looking at. You don't have the trees and you don't have the tents, but they are there. Actually, I think if you look just a little bit to the right of your screen, you can see some of the red top tents. Those are the Dickinson fans.
Yeah, the F&M fans on the other end of this field. And there's not just 1 or 2 red top tents. There are about, I want to say, upwards of 10, 15 blue and white top tents for the Diplomats on this new tailgate.
I think you're underestimating. I think you're being modest.
I might be.
I know you go to school here, so I don't want to pump us up too much. That's a lot of people over there. That's not even mentioning the big one that probably could fit about 300 people underneath. That is a small city over there. Drew Tomlinson will kick it off. Dan Salamone back to receive along with Butts. It'll be Salamone back at the 3. Up the left hash mark, bounces it to the outside, gets to the 20 before he gets hit by Dylan Alderfer. Good special teams coverage for F&M. That part of their game seems to be getting better and better as this season has gone along. This is game number 7 for F&M. We're not used to saying that coming back from the week off. It used to come at the exact midway point of the season. Now under the new scheduling, I don't know, however you want to call that, they play 6 games and then give everybody the break. The whole league was off. 1st and 10 for Dickinson under freshman quarterback Robert Geis out of Malvern, Pennsylvania. F&M has not had great luck against Dickinson freshmen. Give us to Walsh, and he doesn't get much. Gain of about a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9.
Yeah, Geis was not the starter at the beginning of the season. He came basically in the 4th game against Muhlenberg, and ever since, he's been the main guy under center.
Dickinson goes without a huddle. But they will change things up at the line on 2nd and 9. Walsh in the backfield, 3 wideouts. Low snap, Walsh looking right, throwing over the middle, caught, Salomon out beyond the 30 to the 33-yard line, and a 1st and 10 for the Red Devils. Salomon, easy crossing route, and Geis hit him in stride. The backup quarterback, excuse me. Berger was a freshman 2 years ago, the last time these teams met in Lancaster. Victory for Dickinson. Hard count. Here comes the flag. And this one's going against Dickinson.
False start. Offense. Number 50. 5 yards. First down.
I don't know if you could hear that. That was referee Joe Letizia. Bo Rogers is the umpire, Larry Foster the head linesman, Thomas Work is the line judge, Doug Litweiler is the side judge, and Mark McCarter the field judge. Back judge is Matthew Park. First and 15 after the false start. It'll be a swing pass. Salomon can't make the catch. It is a forward pass. They whistle it down incomplete. That'll make it 2nd and 15.
You're going to get those kind of passes from a young freshman quarterback in Geis. But he's been pretty efficient overall. 57% completion rate. You'd like to see that climb up a little bit above 60. But regardless, as a freshman, he's dealt with some high-powered offenses. Already played Hopkins, Susquehanna, Mcdaniel as well. And he's hung in there tough.
It's a young team, young group of skill players. Walsh is one of them, and he's hit at 29-yard line by Oken. No gain, 3rd and 15. Oken is having one heck of a season, especially in run support.
Yeah, Ben Oken with 13 tackles against Muhlenberg in their F&M's last home game. He was such an integral part of that defense. Broke up a couple of passes in the 4th quarter. And these D-backs have been fantastic, along with Jeff Leone. KJ Boston, he's injured today, but he's been having a good season as well, the sophomore.
3rd and 15. Walsh in the backfield along with Geis in the shotgun. F&M showing blitz, and here they come, and Geis is hit and dropped at the 17-yard line. Big blitz for the Diplomats, gets to him, and the Devils will be forced to punt.
Joe Granahan with some big-time pressure, and he just burst through that offensive line for a big loss.
Connor Langen goes back to punt. Kevin Lammers, the sophomore, waiting back at his own 44-yard line for F&M, and they'll tell him, creep it up. Langen angles to the right, gets off a short kick. Lammers will get away from it, takes a Dickinson bounce, and rolls. Out of bounds at the F&M 41-yard line. The punt 39, no return. 7-0 F&M over Dickinson. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. It's our first time on the air in now 3 weeks. Is that about right?
It's been a long time, yeah.
Yeah,
Hopkins,
okay.
The bye week last week.
It almost seemed like it had been more. So what I'm going to talk about is older news at this point, but it's the first time since we've been on the air, and that is we certainly want to continue to offer our condolences to everybody, particularly in the Muhlenberg football family and all around the Centennial Conference, on the passing of Muhlenberg head coach Mike Donnelly, which happened about 4 days after the F&M Muhlenberg game, as Arisman's going to air it out, looking for Pretty on first down, and he's got him inside the 20 and down to the 11-yard line. 48 yards from Arisman to KJ Pretty, and it'll be 1st and goal for F&M. Pretty got inside the coverage, and no chance. Arisman just dropped it right in there.
Phil, before the game, you and I talked about how KJ Pretty, he was burning the secondary defenses on Grassfield, Spanning Williamson. On the turf, he's that much faster, and he just got a step ahead there for a huge explosive play for this F&M offense.
First and goal for the Dips. Gerald in the backfield. Erisman throwing the fade, looking for Alderfer. Can't get there. No flag, and it is incomplete. And the coverage, very good from Ryan Amarato. Taj de France, I'll correct myself, 28, not 29. I'll let the eyes adjust. This is a little higher than we're used to. It's a tremendous vantage point for us. By the way, our camera people, our high-up camera people, wow.
Yeah.
What a perch.
The perch.
You could not get a better spot to watch a game. 2nd and 10 Diplomats. Erisman in the shotgun. He's going to keep this one. Trying to run right, then back to the middle, and he has very little room to go. James Turner with the hit. Picks up about 2. 3rd and goal from the 8. Also, big announcement in the last week or so, as we found out that this is going to be the last year at Gettysburg for head coach Barry Streeter. 38 seasons.
Good Lord.
What a run he's had.
His last game's going to be here, too.
As it should be. Probably like it to be at home.
Yeah, Gettysburg.
Erisman over the middle. Caught. Touchdown. Beautiful throw to Greg Caleros for the touchdown. And F&M extends the lead. It's 13-0. Oh, excuse me. Okay, thank you. It's 92 Gaspari, not 82.
Big tight end gets in there and gets physical.
Wed home for the extra point. That one's up. And it's good. And into all those fans who are ringing the stadium. 5:45 to go in the first. 14-0 F&M over Dickinson. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. Jack, right now the Diplomats offensively, they are making it look easy.
Yeah, this offense has been great all season. I mean, when you look at the stats, the number 2 ranked in the Centennial Conference, averaging around 33 points per game. And over 367 yards of total offense. So, this F&M team, they're explosive. And this Dickinson defense, well, I don't know if they have all the components to handle everything that F&M has been able to throw at them. Last week, they lost 2 inside linebackers, and a freshman had to step in the middle. And F&M, they're just such a talented team who's been able to put up a lot of points against some good opponents. You're going to have to shut down this passing game for F&M if you want to slow the Diplomats down. But right now they're firing on all cylinders.
It'll be Tomlinson to kick it off. Butts and Salamone wait back. Good kick. Salamone from the 5. Up the left hash with speed. Has a lane, and that closes pretty quickly. Austin Bates is in on the tackle. It'll be 1st and 10 for Dickinson, right around the Red Devil 25-yard line. And this is certainly not the start that Dickinson wanted. They're a team that prides itself on defense. They're never going to wow you with their skill guys. Cedric Madden, who graduated 2 years ago, notwithstanding. They usually like to have versatile characters, interchangeable parts, smart quarterback play, conservative, and then good, hard-hitting physical defense. Give you some out-of-town scores when we have a moment. Salamone goes in motion. Instead, it's going to be a slant. That one is dropped. Not a bad throw from Geis. Kyle Donahue, one of the lone upperclassmen on this team, couldn't hang on. It'll be 2nd and 10. Wasn't going to be a big gain, but Dickinson needs plays like that.
No, they do, and you mentioned earlier, just such a young core for this Dickinson team. Lots of sophomores, freshmen that are thrown in there as well. Promising for the future, but right now, got to make those routine plays. Inch towards getting better every week.
I'll send 4 wide. Geis in the shotgun. with Walsh, the lone tailback. Geist drops straight back, and he runs right into the rush. He had no room to breathe. Joe Granahan right in his face. And it's going to be third and very long.
Well, that's tough for Geist. He recognized that he was under pressure. He just did not have any sense of what was coming from his right, and it was Joe Granahan.
Now, I saw the rush coming up, and I saw him start to take off. It's a good decision. Whoa, right there.
Running into a brick wall.
Joe Granahan has a way of taking your good decisions and making them seem like bad ones.
And saying hello with that.
3rd and 19. Geis, F&M no blitz. He'll throw deep up the left side looking for Longo. Just overthrew him. He had a step. Incomplete. 4th and 19, and Dickinson will have to punt. Coverage from Steph Smith.
I like that play call from Dickinson. It's a one-on-one down the sideline. Longo's got the speed to keep up with it. Just a tad overthrown from Geis. I like the throw, though. I think it was a good play. And if that ball is just lofted maybe an inch or two more, Longo would have had a good shot to bring that catch down and pick up a Dickinson first down. On the other end, though, 4th and 19 now. They're forced to punt again.
Longo has really become Geis' favorite target. High kick. Lammers takes it at the 48, crosses the 50 into Dickinson territory, down about the 42-yard line. 35-yard punt, 10-yard return. 1st and 10 F&M, still 4:26 to go in the first. 14-0 F&M over Dickinson. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. Give you a couple quick out-of-town scores, which we have on a couple of our new toys, these beautiful touchscreen monitors that we're rocking up here. Moravian on top of Juniata. That's in the 3rd quarter. Moravian leading 10-7. Moravian still looking for its first win of the season. I would never have thought that we'd be saying that at this point of the year. And Susquehanna leads Ursinus at home in Sealands Grove, 7-0. That one with 5:42 to go, quarter number 2. Play action, Arisman rolling right, looking back to the left, and he's got Pretty at the 25, to the 20, stutter steps at the 15, and spun out of bounds at the 11. 1st and 10 for F&M, 31 yards, Arisman to Pretty.
I hate to say it, but Eric Dedloff, the cornerback that was following KJ Pretty, he just had his eyes on Arisman. He saw the rush coming, and KJ Pretty just kind of snuck in behind him. Got to be aware of those wide receivers rolling out to your right and left. And KJ Pretty did a good job to slip in behind and be an outlet pass for Tanner Arisman.
1st and 10 for the Diplomats. A little over 4 to go in the first. Arisman rolls right, cocks the right arm, throwing out to the flat, incomplete, looking for Alderfer. That pass had some mustard on it, and Alderfer, even as big as he is, couldn't get up for it.
You don't overthrow Dylan Alderfer too much. Big body out there, number 84, the senior. He has become a great compliment to KJ Pretty. A little bit of a different target. Obviously, Pretty, a big downfield threat. But Alderfer, a big body that you can get a good slant to and a fade as well in these types of situations.
Play action, Arisman keeps it to the 10, to the 5, makes a move to the 1, reaches for the goal line, and he is in. Touchdown, Tanner Arisman, 11 yards out. Tanner Arisman has 2 rushing and 1 passing touchdown to open Tom Gilbert Field at Shadek Stadium. F&M leads at 20-0 with 3:46 to go, and F&M's offense right now is unstoppable.
This is really an impressive viewing from this offense. We're still in the first quarter, Phil.
Wedholm to try and split the uprights, which he does. Out by the flagpole. 3:46 to go in the first, 21-0. F&M leading Dickinson. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. The other games that are set to kick off a little bit later. Well, one of them will get underway in about 5 minutes. That's Muhlenberg at Mcdaniel. By the way, what a feel-good story for Muhlenberg to win that game over Ursinus heading into the break, coming just 3 days after the death of head coach Mike Donnelly. And one final thought on that is I don't know what state Coach Donnelly was in when F&M played Muhlenberg. I was told that he might be watching, but I know I wasn't given the full details of his health, which is fine. It's none of my business. I hope if he was able to watch at all, I hope that we really just kind of gave a good account of the last time he got to saw his team. It always means a lot to me that the fans of both teams enjoy the broadcast and think it's fair, and never more reason than that. I got a chance to talk to Coach Donnelly a little bit through the years. Just a really nice guy, a lot of fun to talk football with, very personable. I talked to him in August, and he knew what he was up against, and he was very upbeat about it, which is why the news was shocking, even though we knew that it was a problem. Salamo to the 25 and out to the 26-yard line, but I don't know where else to go other than it was a pleasure to get to know Coach Mike Donnelly, and he's going to be missed. It was great working with him these last few years, and I hope if he did get to watch that game, even though his team didn't get the win that day, that he thought it was a good broadcast and a fair representation of his team.
And it certainly was a good game at that. Came down to the wire through and through, and I agree with you, Phil. He was a class act, and John Troxel, who worked under him, he takes that with him.
1st and 10 for Dickinson at the 26-yard line. Walsh, not much. Now to about the 27, gain of a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9. And there are people around the conference and around Division III football who worked under Coach Mike Donnelly. John Troxel is one. Tom Perkovich at Susquehanna is another. And the interim head coach, who's also the athletic director at Muhlenberg, Corey Goff, his brother Casey Goff, is a head coach. And also worked under Coach Donnelly. Walsh up the middle. Gets to the 30.
Yeah, when I was talking to Troxel, he said the bye week, it just really didn't feel like a bye week for me. I was so busy, and I had to go. That was when the funeral was for Mike Donnelly. He was there. He spoke. He said it was just a tough weekend for him and a lot of his friends. But he said he always has the memory and the lessons that he's learned from him. And he certainly left an impact on Centennial Conference football and a lot of good young men.
3rd and 6 for the Red Devils. Geis steps up, throws, and it's intercepted. Going the other way. 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Jeff Leone steps right in front of the wide receiver. It's 27-0. The Diplomats are just pouring it on in quarter number 1. 2:13 to go and 4 touchdowns. Now 1 for the D.
Jeff Leone, tight coverage. He just steps in front of the pass. Geis just didn't read him. He almost was hiding behind him, and boom, Leone shows up and takes us to the house.
That was one that Geis should have seen. He wasn't just lurking. He was there, right in front of the intended target before the arm was even cocked. Dickinson players have to get back on side. Wedholm picks it up, and it is good. 28-0. F&M over Dickinson. 2:13 to remaining. Lancaster, Pennsylvania. F&M with a celebration to open this new stadium, and so far, no reason for anybody to stop celebrating. 28-0. F&M over Dickinson. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. One final note on that, by the way. What a gutty effort by Muhlenberg to come and get the win 3 days after that.
Yeah, I mean, you're coming out with that chip on your shoulder and you're wearing that on your sleeve. Football is a game played with high emotion, and I can't even imagine what those football players were feeling that day. But they did it right, and they went out, they played well, and they got a good win.
Emotions of a different kind here today. I've gotten a chance to talk to a few alumni here, including my old broadcast partner, Brian Stabby, who came up into the booth and said hello, and people are just... they're almost speechless. They're gushing. They're giddy like schoolgirls, some with tears in their eyes as they look at this. This is just such a happy moment for so many here at Franklin and Marshall College. This is a truly one of the great days I've ever had as a broadcaster here, and I'm doing this 8 years now.
Hey, I'm right with you.
Tomlinson kicks it off. Low line drive kick. Salamone from the 8, up the right side now to the 20, to the 25, looking for room, not finding any more. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Red Devils. Alderfer with another special teams tackle.
Yeah, oh man, I love that he's getting in there. You know who's also gotten in there is Zach Bradley. Backup QB. I see him on the punt return. You never know the guys who are going to rotate in on special teams. Wanted to say, quick note, Jeff Leone, 2nd interception of his career, 1st pick 6.
Picked a heck of a day for it to happen. This is the battle for the Conestoga Wagon. Haven't even mentioned that. That handsome trophy that has resided in Lancaster, and looks like if things don't change in a hurry is the gift to Walsh. Now to the 31-32, gain of 1.5 yards. And it doesn't appear right now that it's going to be changing hands. And I've seen both teams in my time here lose the trophy at home, have to hand it to your opponents at the 50-yard line and watch them take it on a bus and drive it out of town. That is not a good feeling.
No, and both these teams take pride in that trophy, too.
It's a nice one.
It is.
Doesn't look like any trophy you've ever seen. Geis looks right, throws the out, caught Longo, his first catch of the game. Out to the 30-yard line. That's going to leave a 3rd and 5.
Yeah, I don't even think you could call it a trophy. I mean, obviously that's what it is, but it's just a huge wooden plank with a wagon on it and a little plaque in a glass box, right?
Yeah, it's like a massive version of a ship in a bottle, except it's not a ship. It's a vehicle of another kind. Representative of the
transportation.
Yeah, exactly. Another big blitz for F&M. Geis gets rid of it, and it is intercepted. Oh, what a play by Moffitt. As he timed his leap perfectly to go over Salomon's back without making contact, tip the ball, grab it. There is a flag. Maybe he did make contact. No, it goes against Dickinson. The interception will stand. It'll be 1st and 10. F&M, 2 consecutive interceptions by Geis, the quarterback. F&M's defense comes up. First Leone, and now the senior Vince Moffitt.
You've got to be kidding me. Vince Moffitt with one of the most athletic plays that we've seen this year. He did. He tipped it up to himself over the wide receiver, and then he came down with it. Unbelievable from Vinny Moffitt. 5th career interception for the all-conference D-back, and the senior has had a heck of a year for the Diplomats.
Don't have a replay for you, and we apologize for that. We are working out some kinks. Airspin Statue of Liberty play, and he is drilled and sacked by John Minicosi, the big guy. He wasn't biting on the fake, and Airspin dropped for a loss of 4.
Well, they call him the Moose, John the Moose Minicosi, and he's a big old Italiano meatball. His dad owns a meatball shop, well, an Italian sandwich shop called Gianni Paisano's in Delco, and he works there during the summers.
How long does it take to get there?
Maybe an hour 20 from here. We could make it after the game.
Gerald up the middle. Tackled from behind by Turner as he gets to the 31.
Well, Minicosi's, his pops owns his place, Gianni Paisano's, and he is there all summer in the kitchen working hard, and then in between his breaks, he goes and works out, getting in shape for football season. Just a tenacious tackler, a big body at that. He's been one of Dickinson's best players on this D-line.
And I'll talk more about football and meatballs when we come back. First quarter is over. What a first quarter it was for Franklin and Marshall. They opened Shadek Stadium with a 28-0 explosion. They lead Dickinson by that score. We'll be back in a couple of minutes at GoDiplomats.com. Welcome back to Shadek Stadium in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. 28-0 F&M leading Dickinson, beginning of quarter number 2. All those touchdowns scored at what is the far end of the field from our broadcast perspective. Well, welcome over here, guys.
Yeah.
Not much play right in front of our faces.
Past the 50-yard line. On to the other side.
It's unusual to see one team so dominant over the other in this rivalry. As Arisman rolls left on 3rd and long. He'll dump it down over the middle, and it is dropped by Pretty as he crossed routes with Alderfer. That brings up 4th and 10, and F&M's probably going to leave the offense on the field. Indeed, they will. Here comes Freddie Perry to replace Gaspari.
Freddie Perry playing with an nagging injury, but he suited up today for F&M. Didn't want to miss this one. Still going to be used to full strength.
I got to believe anybody who wasn't on their deathbed was going to find a way to get a uniform on and get on this field today. 4th and 10. Arisman, nice pocket. Now he'll run to the 30. Needs to get to the 20. He's got some room to go. Yes, he does. He gets there inside the 20 and down to the 19-yard line. What a run by Tanner Arisman. He had no business getting those final 5 yards.
And now we got the replay working. This is a beautiful read from Arisman. He's gotten it done on his feet all afternoon. And here's the difference with the turf. 2 cuts there. Usually on grass, he only does 1, and he can commit to the right side. Instead, he goes left, fakes right, and then fakes right, goes left. He pick up that first down.
Oh, you can see what a difference that's making. Collison sets up as the tailback. They give it on the jet sweep to Gerald. Running left, gets away from the pursuit to the 10, to the 5, and a touchdown. Talib Gerald with his first touchdown on Tom Gilbert Field, a 19-yard carry, and it's 34-0 F&M.
Oh, they're running away with this now, Phil. Talib Gerald with career touchdown number 24.
Watch this acceleration.
We talked about this before the game. Talib Gerald on this field, he's going to have big runs because he can get his footing right.
Wedholm for the extra point. Perry puts it down, and Wedholm boots it through. He's perfect 5 for 5 today, 35-0. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. Well, you said it, Jack. Talib Gerald, and he has had his share of big, explosive games on all kinds of fields. This type, which is, by the way, a new type of field turf that is really, really nice and spongy and just feels good on your feet. But we've seen him on the grass field of Spinaga Williamson as well. But this senior season for Talib Gerald, he has not looked as fast as he has during most of his career. On that run, he looked like the Talib Gerald that we've seen for the last 3 years when healthy, because he did have injuries midway through each of his first 2 seasons.
And that's the other aspect to it, is maybe he wasn't going full strength, wasn't at full acceleration because of those 2 knee injuries, which held him back. But he's still got a lot in the tank. And on Spinaga Williamson Field, that grass field, it's really tough to get going and keep a high speed, accelerating past your defenders. You saw on that run, he's still got it, and the turf field makes all the difference. He finds his footing, and he just whizzes down the sideline in for the touchdown.
Drew Tomlinson to kick it off with F&M on top 35-0. Butts and Salamone continue to be the receivers, and it'll be Salamone. Steps up to the 6 to make this play. Cuts to the middle of the field, finds a seam to the 25, and then hit from behind, tackled forward to the 29. Special teams tackle made by Dom Bertone. It'd be 1st and 10 for Dickinson. And a quarterback change, I believe? Indeed, Billy Berger will take over. Berger, the junior out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Attending college in his hometown. Man goes in motion, Salamone, bad snap, but he'll get it on the jet sweep. Try to cut it back toward the middle, tackled by Granahan. Got back to the line of scrimmage, no gain, no loss. It'll be 2nd and 10. Hadn't really seen bad snaps so far today. Not the best way for Billy Berger to enter the game.
Tough one, but he gets the handoff.
Berger's a guy that's played well at times without a ton of weapons. Smart, not a huge arm, not Tanner Erisman-like gifts. F&M blitzes 5. Up the middle. As Walsh gets out to the 35-yard line. He has not had much luck running the ball. Picks up 6 there. And it'll be 3rd and 4.
Yeah, Billy Berger, he was the starter all last season, played 10 games, all 10 of them. 52% completion rate. Played 3 games, the first 3 games of this season, came in as a starting quarterback, but they liked what they saw out of the freshman Robert Geis. Decent numbers for Berger, though, a 64.3% completion rate.
He's not quite the big rushing threat that his predecessor Colonel was, but he does have that in his arsenal. 3rd and 4. Salamone goes in motion. Berger looks left. Chase to the right. And he is not getting away from Granahan. The ball was loose. They're going to say down by contact. Bobby McDevitt can celebrate in the end zone, but it's not going to be official. Still going to be 4th and long, and Dickinson will have to send out the punt team. You can see McDevitt doesn't agree with it. 2nd sack of the day for Granahan.
The 4th and very long for Dickinson, coming from John Whitworth, the PA announcer. Boy, Phil, you knew that F&M was going to come out fired up on this game. I didn't expect it to be 35-0 with 12 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Good snap. Langan, high angling kick. Lammers, fair catch called for and made at the 36-yard line.
I'll be getting updates from our sideline reporter, Tucker Freeman. Works in the equipment room for Franklin and Marshall, and he is saying that the vibe right now at the F&M bench is unbelievable. Everybody is jacked up, and they came into this knowing that they had this game. Chip on their shoulder, just going nuts, and brought a lot of energy, and I'm sure that they're feeding off the energy from this crowd.
High snap, Arisman swings it out. Alderfer caught, and he's able to drag a tackler out to the 46-yard line. Gain of 10. That should be close to a first down. Taj DeFrance with the tackle. And by the way, what you're seeing there, the replay, that's about our perspective. That's about our broadcast view. We're to the left of that. That's right at the 50. Yeah, that's that camera that's upstairs. And if I'm ever not broadcasting, a sore throat or something, I want that job. It's just great up there.
Especially on a day like today.
Arisman gives to Gerald. Up the middle, breaks 1 tackle, breaks a 2nd tackle, and it takes 3 to get him down just shy of the 50. Pickup of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Beautiful.
Lot to tell you about this place. Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
I was going to say, beautiful sunny afternoon, and you want to be up there on the perch, just... You can see basically all of Lancaster.
Well, nobody's going to have that much privilege other than the camera people. They've got their jobs, and they're not giving them up. But if you are up here, there are patios on the wings of this place that are open to the public. They have right now high top tables that are lined in cloth. No alcohol out there, so don't try it. But it is a great spot to watch a game. Absolutely beautiful. Arisman to Gerald, who turns around, adjusts, and can't break the tackle, but he's got close to first down yardage in Dickinson territory at the 43. He's going to be right at the marker. I think this is going to warrant a measurement. No, they'll just move the sticks. 1st and 10 F&M. Yeah, met a pretty friendly security guard out there, Dave, and Dave was excited.
Dave, the security guard, he was jacked up?
He was like, look at this place. He's grinning ear to ear.
Got that.
That's basically what everybody's looking like today.
Yeah.
1st and 10 F&M. 2 wide receivers on the far side of the field. Give Talib Gerald. Following his blockers, he's hit by Turner after a gain of 1.
Boy, it's just got to be so encouraging for alumni, too, to come back, and especially the football alumni who did such a great job donating and raising this kind of money, come back and see the final product of it. I know that The guys on the field right now are feeling very grateful for this opportunity.
Well, it started with a big gift from Larry Shattuck, for whom the stadium is named, class of '72. And that really got the ball rolling, if you pardon the pun. Arisman rolls out left, dumps it out underneath, and well defended by Dickinson. Short gain for Collison to the 40. Detloff came out in support and helped out Turner on the tackle. Turner, by the way, is second in the Centennial in total tackles, 65 total. He's also sixth in the conference with 8.5 tackles for loss. And he's just a sophomore. And there are a lot of freshmen and sophomores who look good for Dickinson. They can fill in another recruiting class or two for Brad Fordyce. They can get things turned around. Great school, not a bad facility themselves. Arisman gets rid of it, incomplete. Well covered out in flat, was pretty. And that'll bring up 4th and 7. And F&M, it appears, will send out the punt team for the first time.
Yeah, you look at this defense, and it's just riddled with freshmen and sophomores. You have juniors scattered here and there. Well, most of the playing time going to those younger classmen.
Garrett Pershey to punt. Wobbly snap, but he's got it. Looking for the coffin corner. And he'll find, well, if you call it that, around the 15-yard line. Nicely done. 25-yard punt and net when it pins the Devils at their own 15-yard line. First and 10 Dickinson, 8:25 to go, quarter number 2 at beautiful Shadek Stadium. So, yeah, if you're the kind of person that kind of likes to be up and around rather than sitting in the bleachers, they are metal bleachers, no backs. That's not everybody's favorite way to sit. So if you want to be up and walking around these beautiful patios with a bird's eye view, it's terrific.
A good concourse as well.
Play action, Berger, and a throw deep looking for Longo, left side, off the fingertips and incomplete. He had him. That would have been a big play.
Well, we
Coverage,
saw that.
John McGee.
We saw that play earlier in the first quarter. It was on this left sideline, and then Geis overthrew it. Berger plants just right in Longo's hands. Just unfortunate, right off the fingertips.
Longo, a freshman. He knows he's got to make that catch. Comes out of the very tough FCAC in Connecticut, played at Ridgefield. F&M showing possible corner blitz. There it comes. Berger over the middle for Longo. Incomplete. Some contact. And the flag from the far side judge. Longo. And it looks like it was McGee in coverage that time as well.
Rightly called. He was all over Longo.
I was looking at the back judge. We've seen a lot of flags this year come from a guy looking to show off his arm. Back judge sometimes 40 yards away is the only one that sees it.
Number 13, ball be placed at the spot of foul, automatic first down.
Penalty is on McGee. Yeah, some of those back judges, they really huck that flag a long way, but when you see that, you often say, how is that guy all the way over there going to make that call? For whatever reason, often he's got the best vantage point. So it's 1st and 10 Dickinson. Out just beyond their own 25-yard line. Swing pass for Salomon. He's got some room to the 35, and a good open field tackle is made by Vince Moffitt, which is not surprising. Be very close to first down yardage, and it is first down yardage for Dickinson. So the Devils have something in the works. They have a long way to go.
This is a good drawn-up play. You got trips on the left side. There are 2 slot receivers. They're going out, blocking, and Salomon just hangs back with a quick screen.
Now they'll swing it the other way, and that is read beautifully by Leone, and Salomon looks like that might have hurt him a little bit. Now he pops back up pretty quickly. You see that sometimes with the swing pass. They'll do it one side, they'll do it to the other side, and never really surprised when you see that the other team is right on it the second time.
Yeah, Leone read that right off the bat. Put in a good low tackle.
Give you some out-of-town scores in a moment. as more stuff is underway. The one game that's not is Johns Hopkins at her sinus. That's probably the game of the week, other than this one, of course. Play action, Berger chased and sacked. He got away from the corner blitz, but then he stepped up right into the teeth of the defensive line. Jackson Hale right in his face.
Now Mickey Plymer, his favorite thing about Shadek Stadium is the third down scoreboard, because it's basically the Eagles' third down pump-up scoreboard song.
Juniata?
No, Philadelphia.
Only Eagles I care about. I'm sorry. 3rd and 21. Berger steps up, throwing deep. Wobbly ball looking for a long go, and he cannot hang on. Coverage was good from McGee. Throw was ugly, but it was apparently on the money. And Longo just couldn't bring it in. It looked like he had it pinned to the right shoulder pad, at least momentarily.
God, it's a great cut from Longo, and he has it right there. Just can't hold on to it. Like you said, hits the turf, and it pops off his pads. McGee stuck with him as best he could. Boy, you can see the potential from Longo.
He's been open. Langen, good punt. Lammers has to go a long way. Makes a catch at the 39-yard line. Muffs it out of bounds. Harmless, if a little nerve-wracking. It will be 1st and 10 F&M with 6:11 to go in quarter number 2. Let's take a look at that out of town. It's halftime in Selinsgrove, and low-scoring affair as Susquehanna leads Ursinus 7-0. And I just said Johns Hopkins and Ursinus. That's Med Soccer. My apologies. Muhlenberg over Mcdaniel 6-3. That's about midway through quarter number 1. 9:09 to go in the 4th. In Huntington, and Juniata leads Moravian 17-10. Juniata starting to play better.
Quarterback for the Eagles, the Juniata Eagles, and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Up the middle for Gerald. Gerald with a big hole up the middle, and he gets into Dickinson territory to the 42-yard line, a pickup of 16 on 1st down.
I was pretty impressed with Austin Montgomery of Juniata when he came here. F&M ran away with the victory, but Montgomery, good back for the Eagles, and Juniata kind of pulled to 2-4. Moravian still winless in Centennial Conference play.
Yeah, I never saw that coming. I knew everybody knew Moravian was going to take a step back, losing Chris Negron and Mike Hayes, as Arisman throws it deep, looking for Alderfer, and he can't get there. Coverage was very good. Will Peck in coverage on Alderfer. It appears there is a flag, as the head linesman and the referee want to talk things over. And I think it's going to be against Dickinson as Arisman goes over to get a load of that.
There's no foul on the play.
There's no foul. You know, head coach John Troxel, and head coaches all do this. They talk about how much respect they have for all their opponents, that there are no easy games. Sometimes you believe them. Sometimes you're like, yeah, coach, that's a nice thing to say. This year, it really is true. There are a lot of teams out there playing very competitive football at times, as the give is to Gerald, and he gets short yardage on 2nd down. It'll be 3rd and 8. But we look at how good Mcdaniel looked here 4 weeks ago, and they've struggled since then. They've lost their last 2, including losing to Dickinson, a team that you didn't expect a team like them to lose to. Where Dickinson, where you're not seeing much from them so far today, that's a great win for them. Juniata looking a little bit more like a live underdog after getting off to a rocky start to their season, the win over Grove City notwithstanding. And Moravian, are you not going to worry about Moravian next week? You're absolutely going to worry about that team, especially at Rocco Calvo. 3rd and 8. Arisman over the middle for Alderfer. What a throw to the 20 and tackled down at the 15-yard line. An absolute bullet from Arisman. The tackle's made by Butts.
Well, Tanner Arisman just threads the needle here. Watch this throw. Drops back. Good route from Aldifer in between 3 defenders. And Dylan Aldifer with a big reception and a big gain for F&M. He's pumped up coming off the turf.
At the 15, it'll be 1st and 10 F&M. They'll send Perry and Pretty wide to the right, Aldifer on the left. Gerald, of course, is the tailback. High snap. Harrison's going to keep this one. The slant, and is that complete? No, they'll say it skipped into Dylan Aldifer. Looked like DeFrance was trying to jump the route, and Harrison did a good job throwing it where he was not going to make the interception. You give up the completion, you'll live with that happily.
Yeah, a good low throw.
And eat your gummies.
I didn't. When it came in, some Welch's fruit snacks. I'm saving those for halftime. Maybe a little pizza and then some healthy stuff after.
I was going to say, your dentist will be proud.
Yes.
I devoured my gummies instantly. 2nd down, it's Gerald trying to get around the corner. What a job by Gerald. To the 5, to the 4. He had the 2 leading tacklers for Dickinson all over him, and he got away from Turner and Heisey to pick up 11 yards, and it is going to be 1st and goal. What a run by Talib Gerald.
You know, we talk a lot about younger classmen on the field for Dickinson. Heisey's a senior, and Gerald just puts a stiff arm right into him. Picks up about 10 yards after it, too.
Had a huge game against McDaniel. Other times this year, yards have been hard to come by. Give to Gerald up the middle, and he lunges for the end zone, and he is in. 2nd touchdown of the game for Talib Gerald. 41-0. F&M all over Dickinson with still 3:36 to go, quarter number 2. And Talib Gerald, look at him just feeling his way, and thank you very much. What a job by the offensive line right in the middle.
2nd of the game for Gerald, number 25 overall in his career. He's just 3 shy of the all-time F&M record set by Keith Word, class of 78.
Winholm's kick, and that one's good as well. 3:36 remaining, 42-0. F&M pounding Dickinson. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. And I think what else to tell you about this gorgeous stadium here. You've got the beautiful concrete brick and mortar stands, the tunnel for F&M players to run through. No locker rooms here in the stadium for the visitors. They will still be making their way across Harrisburg Pike, which is fine. It gets you loosened up.
Yeah, good walk over. The tunnel is probably, I think, one of the coolest parts for these players because they're basically, it's like they're coming under the stadium into a pit, into like an arena almost. And they're jacked up about that. They got all hyped up in the tunnel, going back and forth with one another. The locker rooms are awesome. So it's basically one big locker room, and then there's 2 big doors in the middle that will come shut in the spring. That will split the men's and the women's lacrosse locker room come springtime. Great facilities as well. They got a trainer's room, the equipment room. It's just a beautiful stadium.
Yeah, the locker rooms and the trainers' rooms, the one things I didn't get to see when I came last Sunday. They were locked at the time as Salomon takes it from the 5, gets out to the 20. Ball is loose, and it is gathered in. F&M's got it. It's Stevie G. Jared Vasilis has the loose ball. And we'll get a look at the replay to see who knocked it loose. The first hit was Aldifer, and then somebody else just came rocketing in.
Great work from Stevie G to hop on it. I think G popped it out. No, it was Aldifer. Looked like he stripped it at the end.
If he's the one that stripped it, there was still somebody else that came in and gave the big hit. I thought that was what knocked it out, as Aldifer already had him tangled up.
Maybe number 44, Dom Bertone, who was in there.
Yeah, I don't know
Hard
what
to tell.
the fans are seeing when they see a replay. Now, we have monitors that are absolutely gorgeous. It's a curved screen. It's incredible. When they go to the replay, it's a fuzzy picture for us. I don't know if that's what the viewers at home are watching. If they are, it's one thing we'll try to get ironed out for you as Gerald gets the carry. Gets about a yard, not much room there. Heisey with the tackle.
Though one of the cooler things that I heard today from a couple of football alumni, I was talking to John Onzik, class of 75, and he was saying how he needed to get to Spinagle Williamson Field by 11:15. That was his big event for the day, and I asked him why.
Airspin, high snap. He gives to Gerald running up the middle. He's hit from behind and only is able to get it about another yard down to the 11. It'll be 3rd and 8.
And he looks at me and he says, well, all the guys from the 70s, we're going to go meet there at the 50-yard line on Spinagle Williamson Field, and then we're going to go walk over to the new stadium. And I thought that was a pretty cool send-off from the guys in the 70s who were obviously so successful. 4 straight MAC championships from 1971 to 1974 that those guys were a part of. Saying goodbye to a field that they played on and that a lot of F&M alumni have played on.
And maybe trying to bring some of the good vibes and good luck and good fortune they had over there, trying to carry it with them over here.
Yeah. Metaphorically and literally, as they're all carrying each other over.
Yeah, if you take a look at the scoreboard, you'd say that it's working.
Yeah, that luck is definitely present today for F&M.
I don't know if we've yet gotten a good camera shot of the scoreboard, but that is also absolutely gorgeous with a huge high-def video monitor. It shows the game live, shows replays, and then from the back, just a big Diplomat logo. It also just feels and looks big time. Wherever you are, you're like, oh, that's a football team plays over there.
There it is.
Arisman stands in the pocket, looking back of the end zone. Turnaround catch, touchdown, Talib Gerald. What a job by Gerald with Turner in coverage, and Arisman sneaks it in there. 3rd touchdown of the game for Talib Gerald. It's his first of the receiving variety. 48-0 F&M. Turner looked like he was hurt on the play as he is very gimpy getting back to the defensive huddle.
Now 30 total touchdowns, career eyes for Gerald, and he's having himself a big day at this opening.
Wenholm's kick. That one's good as well. 49-zip F&M over Dickinson with still 1:31 to go. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. We'll step out as we usually do at halftime, come back with about 5 minutes to go before quarter number 3 with stats and out-of-town scores. You'll get your usual array of F&M athletics promotional materials. We have an incredible view as we turn right. We're on the far left of what you'd call the press box, but it's, of course, a lot more than a press box. We have a broadcast booth, and it's just massive for Jack and me, and we've got the crew here that does the switching and the direction. Then to Jack's right in the production. To Jack's right, you've got a glass partition, but you can see all the way through there. You've got the press box, the game staff in the first level. In the second level, oh, okay, so that I was wondering who the baby was. I know a lot of people have had babies. That's Mickey's kid.
Yeah.
All right.
Just got introduced to Shadek Stadium.
An adorable little child. So second row, you've got the working press, as well as Brad Weltmer, who handles KMT operations as well. Scoreboard operation is there. Angle and kick. Salamone gets over to take it at the 12, out to the 20, to the 25. Still on his feet, out to the 29-yard line. The 1st and 10 Dickinson, 1:23 to go. Then beyond that, you have the presidential suite, which I believe has seating for about 50. Stadium-type seating with drink holders, beautiful wood floors. Not the actual wood, but the nice mahogany faux wood that looks very good. Big screen TVs on 3 sides, a fireplace. Then you can see beyond there the coaches' boxes where you have Dickinson. And I see they've got a little bit of a gap that was there now covered over. That's good because the coaches aren't always PG-13. Loose ball on the handoff, and F&M's got it. And I don't think anybody in the stands even realized what happened. Nobody was cheering as the ball just plopped to the ground on the attempted handoff.
Oh, man, and that is a lack of communication there from Berger and his running back. His running back thought that Berger kept it, and Berger thought that his running back kept it.
I mean, the ball just fell to the ground like an egg.
Yeah.
Splat.
Just sat there.
F&M couldn't help but make the recovery, and the Diplomats already up 49-0. Now have a chance to make this even more unsightly, certainly from a Dickinson perspective. Now Zach Bradley in at quarterback for F&M. He'll probably be seeing a lot of backups getting a chance to play in the opener. He gives it to Collison. The senior, he'll get no gain on the play as he was hit by Heisey. Tyler Heisey, the senior out of Cumberland Valley. Had to look that up. Heisey, pretty common name in Lancaster County.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball player Chris Heisey hails from not far away. Donegal High School, Messiah College. Got to cover his younger brother when he was playing for Millersville. And they got to the D2 World Series. Up the middle, Collison, big hole. Gets inside the 20, down to the 19. A gain of 6 for Taylor Collison. Down to 20 seconds remaining. And I don't know that F&M's going to try to run another play. Not often you call off the dogs in the first half, but F&M up 49-0, and they will be content to take that lead into the locker room. And they do have locker rooms right here underneath the stands, and they should get a big ovation from these fans. And there it is, 49-0 F&M over Dickinson. The battle for the wagon is starting to look like a foregone conclusion. Well, Jack, we knew the story today was going to be the opening of the stadium. And it appears for the final 30 minutes, that story is not going to have to really share the front page very much with the game, as F&M has really made this one a laugher. 49-0, incredible work by the Diplomats as they've gotten a little bit healthier and really corrected some things, as John Troxell told you a couple of days ago. It looks like anything that they did wrong against Johns Hopkins, not a problem today.
Yeah, they've really worked out the quirks, obviously, to leave Gerald. What a game he's having, 3 total touchdowns. Tanner Harrisman as well has just been lights out. He's hit his targets. He's got it done on the ground. He has 2 rushing touchdowns. We'll get you all the stats after halftime when we come back. But I think you're right, Phil. This is F&M's offense has come alive. They're feeding off the energy here at Shadek Stadium. And you can just feel that this team is going to hunt for something in these final 4 games of the season, and it starts right now.
Shattuck Stadium is officially open, and F&M is rolling. 49-0 over Dickinson. We'll be back in about 15 minutes with the stats, the out-of-town scores, and more news and notes from around Shattuck Stadium. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. Welcome back to Franklin and Marshall College football. Halftime at the new Shadek Stadium in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. F&M leading Dickinson 49-0, and the stats don't look any closer than that. Total offense 288 yards to 6 in favor of Franklin and Marshall. One of the big stars for F&M has been Talib Gerald, 96 rushing yards. He also has 14 receiving yards on just 2 catches. One of those was a touchdown. Also, 2 of his carries were touchdowns as well. Tanner Arisman, 10 of 17, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns passing. Also 2 touchdowns rushing on 5 carries for 29 yards. The receiving star, who else? KJ Pretty. 4 catches for 100 yards, including a 50-yarder that began F&M's second scoring drive. Arisman broke the seal on Shadek Stadium with a 4-yard run. That came at 10-11 of the first quarter. That made it 7-0 F&M. Pietro Gaspari added an 8-yard reception just about 5 minutes later from Arisman. It was 14-0. And before the first quarter was over, Arisman had an 11-yard touchdown run, and Jeff Leone a 35-yard interception return for a touchdown. It was already 28-0. And in the second quarter, Talib Gerald from 19 yards out, Talib Gerald from 4 yards out, and Talib Gerald 6-yard reception from Arisman. Harley Wedholm 7 for 7, kicking the extra point. 49-0 F&M over Dickinson. Very little good to say for Dickinson. They got 8 tackles from James Turner. He was doing what he does best, trying to give his team a fighting chance. They are right in the middle of the pack defensively, or they came into this game right in the middle of the pack defensively in the Centennial Conference. That is likely to be changing at least somewhat by the end of this game, as F&M has just statistically dominated to the eyeball test as well. But the dominant story today, even more than the F&M offense or the F&M defense or the F&M special teams, is the F&M facility. This is an absolute just party atmosphere that's going on right here, and I think you got a chance to watch the same video that was shown on the scoreboard that is on the south side of Shattuck Stadium at halftime, and there wasn't anybody who wasn't watching. Everybody was up, standing, watching. The audio is clear from the single point speaker system coming out of the scoreboard, and you can just see the reverence with which the people involved with this program have spoken about what this school means to them and any way they wanted to contribute to this facility and all the great memories they have of the facility across the street, Spinaga Williamson Field. Right now, and Jack, I'm going to defer to you on this. They pay me to be here. You are a senior at this school at the end of, I know you've had 4 good years here in Lancaster, but boy, how proud are you right now to be associated with Franklin Marshall College?
It is unbelievable. I mean, you come into this place with a sense of pride as a student. That was the cool thing, and I know that I have obviously a bias because I broadcast the games. I do this, I do that. I'm involved with athletics. But even if you're separate from athletics, I've seen guys walk into the stadium, guys and gals, and say, wow, this is incredible. This is something very cool, and this is something that I can get behind. This is something that I can enjoy and really maximize my time here at F&M. Not only is it a great tool for the F&M men's football team, the men's lacrosse team, and the women's lacrosse team, but just for the student body. It's such a cool place to come together, hang out, watch a football or lacrosse game, and just spend an afternoon in the stands at Shadek Stadium. It brings a special feel with it.
Well, there are a lot of points made in that video that was shown at halftime, and I think the dominant theme is that although this stadium is built for athletics, and what we're talking about right now is athletics, nobody here is coming here to go on to the National Football League or the NBA or Major League Lacrosse. Nobody's going to be playing in World Cup soccer. And you can make your jokes about the American soccer team right now in your minds if you want to do that. Bad couple of weeks right there. But they're coming here because they're quality individuals, quality students that are going to go on to become quality adults, quality leaders in their communities. This one, the ones they came from, Washington, D.C., or wherever else that they're going to go when they leave the hallowed halls of Franklin and Marshall College. This experience is just a piece of it, but boy, today it is front and center and a beautiful piece, and boy, people just have to be so proud, and I can just imagine being a student here now while it opens, or being an alumnus who comes back like our friend Brian Stabby that we've gotten a chance to talk with today, who used to be on the air with us and is from time to time, again, comes back and works with us, an alumnus who stayed close to the school, who's worked at the school after graduating. If you're involved in any way, and for me, just being associated with doing these games and babbling into a microphone for the last 8 years, it's just a special day. It really is great.
And I think the cool thing is that those kind of friendships are displayed right now. I mean, you see all these guys coming back who played football in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 60s, and they're coming back with their buddies, and they're still tight, and they're still close. And that's the cool thing, is these guys decided to create this and donate money to make this happen so that others could have the same experiences that they had. And I look at guys like Mike Sullivan, Jeff Leone, Vince Moffitt, Zach Bradley, even a guy like Tucker Freeman, who is associated with the team, played 2 years, and now hangs out on the sideline helping them out. They're all so close, and it's going to be another 100 years of F&M football and F&M friendships.
Drew Tomlinson at kickoff. And it's taken by Salamone back at his own 4-yard line, gets out to the 24-yard line, and into a pile he goes. And I'll be there where Dickinson takes over 1st and 10. Trying to get something going. And I was talking to one of the security guards out there. We were watching from the patio. And by the way, if you do manage to come to a game here, check that out. That's a good vantage point. We were only there at halftime, but it's absolutely beautiful out there, and you can take food out there. Just not your alcohol. There are signs all over there. But you say, is Dickinson really this bad? And I said, no, I don't think Dickinson is this bad. They couldn't play a worse half of football, however, than they played in the first half. Low snap as Geist, the freshman, back in at quarterback, hands it off Walsh, and he gets it out to the 32-yard line. Pick up a 5. Good start for the Dickinson offense. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Yeah, I agree with you. We thought Dickinson was going to be a little bit more of a challenge, but everything went wrong in that first half for them.
I think they also ran into a buzzsaw. The emotion for F&M for 2 reasons, and I'll give you those in just a moment. 2nd and 5. Handoff, Walsh running left, not much as he's hit from behind and dragged down by Granahan. He does get 2. And I'll make it 3rd and 3. Well, number one, you have all the positive emotions of wanting to open Shadek Stadium with a win. And then number 2, you got a bad taste in your mouth. It's been 2 weeks that F&M has had to carry around 45-7 down in Baltimore. They cannot feel good about that.
No, and that was something that these players, they really felt. I said, are you guys hurting? They're like, not so much physically, but a little bit morally after that lopsided loss to Hopkins. But look, 2 weeks to put it behind themselves, and they've got 4 more games to finish off this season. They're still in this thing, and they could come away with a Centennial Conference championship pending that they win out.
Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that, maybe not that kind of humbling, but you need to be reminded that it takes a lot. On 3rd down, broken up. Steph Smith got a hand in there as Longo was trying to make the catch for the 1st down. Could not do it. The F&M defense holds, and Dickinson once again will be forced to punt.
No, I think you're right. These guys were amped up. They were coming in undefeated against Hopkins. Hopkins had just lost to Ursinus. It was a lopsided game and a weird game at that because of the weather, but they had a chip on their shoulder, and they got knocked down a peg by this Johns Hopkins team.
Another good punt. Fair catch called for and made.
And you also make the good point of you kind of need that to wake up a little bit and say, all right, back to the gridiron.
Yeah,
back to the hard work that got us here.
And the one thing that F&M can take out of that is the fact that Muhlenberg defeated Ursinus that day. Now, F&M would have had its fate against Ursinus in its hands anyway because the Diplomats will go to Collegeville in 2 weeks and take on the Bears. But Muhlenberg still plays Johns Hopkins. Muhlenberg can win that game. There is still a chance for F&M to win this conference outright. Handoff Collison, drags the first man, who got the hit on him out to the 39-yard line. Pickup of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. How many tackles is James Turner going to end up with today? A day like today, it makes you wonder, the number of tackles for him, does that speak well of him or does it speak ill of his teammates?
When your lead tacklers are your quarterbacks and your safeties, not always the best sign.
Turner, a linebacker. That was a problem for F&M 2 weeks ago in Baltimore. A lot of safeties getting a lot of tackles. Collison lowering the shoulder and just burying his man Detloff as he gets across the 50 and gets first down yardage. Expect to see a lot of Taylor Collison in the second half.
And he's a power running back, as you can see. When he starts getting downhill, boy, he just keeps going.
Collison, a guy that doesn't get a ton of carries. I think it's fair to say that Talib Gerald deserves and earns all he gets. And Collison very much a backup. 1st and 10, Collison up the middle, and he's able to drag 2 men. Another big gain on first down. The 42-yard line, and we've got a stoppage as there's injured Dickinson player. It appears to be Thomas Nook who made the tackle. See that double nickel up on the shoulder pad, number 55.
Matt Butts is also taking a knee on the turf. Looks like he may be a little banged up. Trying to stretch out what looks to be his groin. He's not the injured player down, though.
If you remember Scott Laval from a couple of years ago, who was a very good running back for F&M, played a lot his senior year, sparingly up until then. He had some very talented players that he was behind, like Frank Strumolo, Lamont Jackson, guys who weren't always healthy, but when they were studs. And I talked to John Troxel before the season about Taylor Collison. Said it'd be about like Scott Laval. Yeah, that's a good comparison. That's a guy he could be like. And Lavalva's a guy that his senior year seemed to get a little stronger and also seemed to get a little more top-end speed that we hadn't, at least it didn't seem like I'd seen before from him.
And Collison's got that headstrong speed where when he works downfield, he's a truck, just keeps going. He's going to body up anybody who's in his way.
Well, he and Gerald both be graduating. F&M, there are going to be some jobs open. Hand off to Collison. He'll try and stop and go. He's got the stop. He doesn't have the go. He'll be stopped at the 42-yard line, and that'll make it 3rd and 3. When Gerald came in as a freshman, and he had some huge games early on, I talked to John Troxel. I'm like, did you know he was going to be this good? He said, no, absolutely not. Just never know where it's going to come from.
And you talk about earning. Well, Talib Gerald really earned his role freshman year. I mean, he showed up when he was given the opportunities. Played 7 games. And then, of course, the injuries coming in his sophomore season.
He had one his freshman year as well, is really being off to a good start as Walter makes the catch on the comeback route, and he should have first down yardage. Detloff and Turner were there, but Walter should have enough plus a yard to spare. Zach Bradley, by the way, in at quarterback. You can relax, Jack. I think that B is finally gone.
Oh, man.
That was a big one.
That's the only asterisk with the big wide windows flown open is anything can come in.
So I'm ironing my shirt to get ready to come out to this game, and I hear flapping around inside my furnace. I have my laundry room right down there. I'm like, is there a bird in my furnace? There was. I had to let that thing out. I had to open the door, and now my cat's going out as they hand off to Collison up the middle. And he'll just push the pile with some help from his friends and gets 3.5. Called 2nd and 7 officially. Won't have that happen too often. I was hoping it was a bird and not a bat.
Same thing yesterday with my living situation. We had a bird just flying all around the first floor of the house. Finally. Trying to do something about it because it was humming all around, and you're just kind of like, this is not natural.
I had that happen in college once as well. We had to try and get a few people with a blanket to try and take this thing down and then usher it outside. Like my sophomore year of college, which was in another century.
I was about to say, that must have been a long, long time ago.
I made the joke first. Even the another century jokes now are starting. Well, it still was getting to be a long time ago. It'll be 3rd and 7. Homecoming's a little bit more like homecoming now. For a lot of these fans, still about the game, but maybe a little more than in the first half about reconnecting with friends. As the outcome of this one would seem to be pretty much in hand, 49-0 F&M. Yeah, we're being diplomatic. Pardon the pun. Good protection for Bradley. Steps up, throws, caught, Bates, first down at the 25-yard line. Not the tightest of spirals, but right on the money for Austin Bates. Zach Bradley, good throw.
Like to see Bates get in front of the defender. Good work to shed him. Works inside. And he holds on to that ball as he comes down to the turf.
I really like our perch here up high. Perch, because we're talking about birds. But I really do enjoy this bird's eye view of the field. It really does give you a better perspective than even we had at Spinaga Williamson, which was already pretty good. When things were down on the far side of the field, just talking strictly from the broadcast perspective, they would start to kind of flatten out, blend together. Wasn't always easy. Here, it's crystal clear. Kind of reminds me of doing basketball at Mazer.
Yeah, way up there, you can see everything.
Now, at Mazer, I mean, you're right on top of the court.
Yeah.
But putting things in perspective and an analogy, because basketball, so often the press, the media, the broadcast will be courtside.
Right there.
I like that we're right up top.
Boy, but that would be fun too, sitting courtside for a game. Man, you hear everything. You're down with the guys. You're down in the trenches.
There is that. I didn't think of the audible part of it. Give to Collison. And he's hitting the backfield. Not much doing there. Robert Pearl with the tackle.
I think conclusively you and I can both say that the broadcast booths at F&M are something special.
I always feel like my kid comes to some of the basketball games. He'll go with my father-in-law or my dad if he's visiting from Connecticut, my dad likes to come to games a lot. My kid, I think, gets a kick of looking up in the opening and seeing me up there. I was hoping my wife would take him today. Now, our younger one, he probably wouldn't sit still very long. 2nd and 5. Collison alongside Bradley. And they give to Collison up the middle. Puts a hand on the ground and tries to lunge for the first down marker. It appears he'll be about half a yard short, if that. Another tackle for Matt Butts.
He picks up 2 yards after he gets wrapped up.
Seeing Matt Butts always reminds me of Dave Butts, who played for the Washington Redskins back in the 80s with that helmet that was all scraped up, which at the time just seemed funny. Now, knowing what we know about head injuries, we don't laugh at that. It's like, okay, we'll get a better helmet.
He reminds me of my friend Evan Butts, plays tight end for Virginia.
Up the middle goes Bradley on the quarterback sneak, and he will have first down yardage and then some. Relation?
No. B-U-T.
I asked because I know you would know.
Oh, I would. No, this is B-U-T-Z, which I think that's the spelling that you go with.
Anybody who's A, played a high school sport, and B, heard of Philadelphia or any of the surrounding towns, Jack knows them.
Johnny Paisanos, Mr. Minicozy.
You're making me hungry again. And I ate an Italian sub for lunch just because of you.
It wasn't as good as Johnny Paisanos, I promise.
Collison, bear hugged, and then brought back Ozzie, Detloff, and Pearl all in on the stop.
You know, Phil, I never did figure out what the design on this Dickinson helmet was. I tried to get close to the field and take a look, but it's like some thin red lines. You assume that it's the Dickinson D with some flare in it.
Yeah, maybe almost the outline and not filled in, which gives it a white on white. You really can't see it from here, and I don't think viewers can get a good look at that as well. F&M, pretty simple. White, blue numbers. Collison up the middle, big hole, and he will be a little short of the first down. Just outside the 5. He needs to get just inside the 4, so he needs about a yard and a half. Drew Tomlinson is warming up his kicking leg. Tim Fink comes out of the game for F&M. Doesn't appear to be in any kind of pain. Five on the play clock. Hand off Collison up the middle. He's got first down yardage, reaching for the goal line. He is short of that. Got to be a little careful sticking that left hand out there. You don't want the ball knocked away.
And it looks like he wisely kept it close to his body, so they're going to mark it at the 1. You know, even though the score is 49-0, there's still a lot of fans here. Not as many as there were in the first half. A lot of people leaving and going on about their days. But there's still a good amount of fans in these stands.
And a lot of them in the grass on the north side. Not so much on the south side, but a lot of tailgating going on there as well. Flag comes in, and it's going to be delay a game against F&M. Out-of-town scores to report. One final from Huntingdon, where Moravian has its first victory of the season, 20-17 over Juniata. And I think that's probably good news for F&M. The next place the Diplomats go after this will be to Moravian next Saturday, and they don't want a team as an opponent that's still fighting for its first win. Not that Moravian's going to give up after one. They're probably going to be encouraged go for another one. That's a very capable Juniata team that the Greyhounds beat today. Hand off, Collison cuts it back to the middle of the field. He's hit at the 5 and stood up. Doesn't have to hit the ground. It'll be second and goal. Susquehanna, 21-7 over Ursinus. That one in Selinsgrove, 7-17 to go in the 4th. So the Bears in danger of their second consecutive loss. Muhlenberg over Mcdaniel, 25-6.
Boy, this is shaping up to be one heck of a standings next week. If that Ursinus and Susquehanna score holds.
Gaspari goes in motion. Bradley. And he hands it to Collison. And Collison strung out. Not much room out there as Heisey had him around the hips and brought him down. It'll be third and goal. The one final from last night, Johns Hopkins buried Gettysburg in Baltimore 52-0. So no spark from the Bullets after the announcement of their head coach Barry Streeter that this shall be his 38th and final season. He's another one I've enjoyed talking football with over the last few years. Never shy to share opinions about his own team, kind of like Trox. Up the middle goes Collison, big hit. Good touchdown saving tackle. That was Lataraka. And it'll be a field goal attempt as Drew Tomlinson will come in to apply the boot. And fourth and goal from the 1.
Definitely within range.
Drew 18-yarder. Can't make it any shorter than that. Bad snap and bad hold as Perry just couldn't hang on to it. It is officially a fumble, and it was recovered by DeFrance.
Oh,
when it
man.
mattered on fourth down. And it looked like nothing there. Just Perry just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, he just popped out of his hand. That was weird. Don't usually see that from Freddie Perry, but hey, mistakes happen from time to time. You know, when I was talking to Troxel, the one thing he did say about this stadium, the one asterisk, is the field goal component of it.
Swing pass out to Salomon, and he's got to get it away from his own man, and then he's hit and tackled by Jarrett Silas. He'll get it out to the 11, just a yard. Yeah, to get around Donahue.
So with the field goal, there is fencing that goes all the way around the stadium. And the fencing is, I want to say, 10 yards, maybe less, from right behind the goalpost. So when you kick a field goal, it's always going to go and leave the stadium. Somebody's got to jump the fence, go and get it, and bring it back over. And Troxel just says it makes practice an absolute nightmare. All these footballs are getting blasted over the fence.
Quarter number 3 has come to an end. And it was a scoreless third quarter, which is music to the ears of the Dickinson faithful. 15 minutes left to play in the opener at Shadek Stadium. F&M 49, Dickinson nothing. You're watching Franklin and Marshall College football at GoDiplomats.com. Quarter number 4. And Dickinson has a big run up the middle. That was Walsh out to the 15-yard line. Excuse me, out to the 25-yard line. Only off by a whole 10 yards. Thought that looked like more than a 4-yard run. It's indeed a 14-yarder, and 1st and 10 for the Red Devils, and they'll pick up the tempo. Geis is in at shotgun. Play action. The swing pass, Salomon, and he is upended immediately by McGee. Boy, McGee's been busy today.
He's got a lot of action, that quarterback. He's done a good job. The only penalty flag, two penalty flags is against him, but he's made some decent tackles.
Loss of 5 on the play. That'll be 2nd and 15. It's a lot of yard to lose on a completed pass. F&M showing corner blitz. And here they come. And Geis cannot get away. Matt Hamby chomping at the bit right from the start. And nobody picked him up. Geis saw him. Nothing he could do about it.
No, it was good corner blitz, and Dickinson didn't pick it up. He just had a freebie right there. 3rd and long coming up for the Red Devils.
And F&M showing it again. This time it's Makai Holly who's lined up in that spot. And he drops back. Deep over the middle, looking for Longo, and he runs into Oaken, and it is incomplete. Not a bad-looking ball from Geis. Longo just couldn't complete his route.
Yeah, this was an odd choice from Longo. Instead of going after the ball, he just goes for Oaken. He's got his eyes on it, and then boom, just drops him. Looks like
That's
it was gonna
incidental
get there.
contact, but if Oaken's not there, I think Longo runs under that.
Yes, as do I. He's got the speed.
And one in the first quarter, while this game was still in doubt, and that was a long time ago, and deep route up the left side, he couldn't quite bring it in, had his fingertips on it. Short catch, Walter comes up and makes the catch at the 43-yard line. 28-yard punt, no return. It'll be 1st and 10 F&M, 12:52 remaining. Jack, that seemed like a pretty fast third quarter.
They ran the ball the entire time. F&M
Even so.
added them. Yeah, I mean, Collison just ran down the clock, stayed in bounds the whole time. But no, you're right. That third quarter whizzed by. It was a long first quarter, that's for sure. Or first half, excuse me.
I was talking to somebody outside at halftime who was talking about his son playing at Donegal. They had that kind of a game last night against Peckway Valley. I said, yeah, but in those high school games, A, it's 12-minute quarters, and B, they play running clock if it gets to be a 35-point game. And once it becomes a 35-point game, it doesn't matter if it dips under, the clock keeps running.
Phil, I believe that was Dave, the security guard, again. He just keeps popping up. Shout out, Dave.
It's my new buddy.
Yeah, right? He's got to work every event here. Every Saturday.
I'll chat with him anytime. Good dude.
Good guy. I liked him too.
Second and 8. Eric Harris, the tailback, with Bradley in a quarterback. Give us to Harris. Bounces to the left side. Some speed up the middle. Gets to the 35-yard line. Nice looking run for Eric Harris.
Good to see the man they call E-Money get in at running back and get a couple of yards. He had a broken hand earlier this year and was up helping the coaches in the coaches' booth up in the press box. Just excited to get on the field.
Sophomore out of Pittsburgh at Shady Side Academy.
That might be your running back next year when Gerald and Collison are gone.
Well, everybody playing the rest of this game, then they could certainly be auditioning for a greater role next year or sooner. And there's Harris with a little burst up the middle again, gets inside the 30, and he'll have first down yardage.
Well, you see, he's not a big body, but he's got great speed, and he's good cutting side to side. Only 5'7", 166 pounds, but watch this run. It's easy. Kind of runs through the hole there, and he's got good acceleration upfield.
Hey, you mentioned not a big body. Reminds you of perhaps Perry Stefanelli, maybe.
Yeah. Small guy for McDaniel who killed F&M when he came to Spinnagle-Williamson.
Yeah, probably the best running back that we've seen with our own eyes in a home broadcast this year. Harris, this time he's hit right in the chops by Butts.
You think that he's the best running back that we've seen, Stefanelli?
From a visiting team?
Yeah. Even, what about Savant?
We did see Nick Savant, didn't we?
We did see him.
You know
He
what?
didn't have the game. He didn't have the game that Stefanelli did.
For the day that we saw them, Stefanelli was better.
Hey, I agree with you.
And Savant was good.
Savant is really good.
This is a keeper for Bradley to the 25 and gets about 2 more to the 23.
Savant averaging 113 yards a game right now for Muhlenberg. Next closest, Gardner for Sinus, who's averaging about 100.
That's significantly down for both gentlemen from when we saw Muhlenberg in 3 weeks ago. At that point, Savant was at about 150, and Gardner at about $125. Stefanelli nowhere to be seen. Matt Cathy, his teammate, is third. That swing pass is incomplete. Bradley looking for Angelo Martin.
Well, F&M not only investing in Shadek Stadium, but to go along with it, a new cheerleading squad for the Diplomats, who we've seen, but they just broke out the new uniforms.
Oh, the new uniforms.
Yes.
Should I say they purchased a new squad?
Yeah. Maybe put money into the club. Maybe that's a better way to say it. But the uniforms are sharp. I was talking to a few of them. They were really happy about the new stadium too, because the crowd is going to be able to hear them more because they're going to be closer to the crowd, a little bit more projecting some of their chants and stuff.
Now it will be 4th and 9 for the Diplomats.
Clock runs, and now clock stops. The official's going to want it reset.
Phil, you'll appreciate this. Just saw a tweet from former Major Leaguer Dan Herron. He says, "It stinks. I'll never know how far Aaron Judge could hit a baseball off me."
I could tell him how far Aaron Judge could hit a baseball off him. Bradley sacked on 4th down, and that's going to give the ball back to the Red Devils.
Yeah, broken play there. It looks like he was trying to hand off to Harris.
You notice I haven't brought up the Yankees at all. You keep bringing them up.
I did.
I'm telling you, I've been so happy to have an event like this today. If I didn't have a game to do, particularly one of this magnitude, I would be jumping out of my skin for Game 7.
Now you get to carry this positive momentum into it instead.
I feel good. I feel fine about it. Justin Verlander's not starting, right?
Yeah.
Promise.
Don't worry. He's coming out of the bullpen instead.
Geis, not a lot of room. And he'll be shoved backward. Dom Bertone and others right at the point of attack. Not much room for Thomas Geis. It'll be 2nd and 10.
I think it's wild that Los Angeles Dodgers, who obviously are already in the World Series, Clayton Kershaw started Game 5 for them, and he's going to start Game 1 of the World Series. On 5 days rest, on full rest.
Got that. You finished the team off in 5. You've earned it. You got the rest. Second and 10. And not a lot of room there either.
Boy, well, this fun. 4 has been fantastic all day. And now the 2's getting in on some of the action. Justin Brown there with a good tackle. Junior.
Third and 10 as Geis drops back. Throws it deep right side, looking for Longo, and it's incomplete. Not a lot of room there as McGee had him blanket along the sideline. That'll bring up 4th and 10, and in just a moment we'll have a treat for you. The president of Franklin and Marshall College, Dan Porterfield, will be joining me. Langen to punt. And Walter is getting more and more time on special teams, waiting back right with his heels on his own 40-yard line. High angling kick, fair catch, and Walter's got it. Smartly done back at the 33-yard line, and I'd like to say hello to President Dan Porterfield in charge of Franklin and Marshall College. And Mr. Porterfield, this has to be an incredibly prideful day for you. This is just a beautiful, beautiful day, a beautiful facility, and people around this campus obviously just feel great about where they are today.
Indeed, it is a historic day. We played 122 years of football on Spinagle Williamson Field, and this is the beginning of maybe 122 years of football at Shadek Stadium. See the alums, the families, students, friends of the school come out, cheer on the Diplomats, and to just experience the wow factor of stepping into this facility. Amazing.
Zip pass from Jack Donachie, the freshman, is complete. So F&M getting a younger quarterback involved as well. It'll be 2nd down. what has given you the most sense of pride today? I mean, this is a beautiful facility, athletics, but tell me about just the conversations and the dealings that you've had with people in and around the F&M community and alumni that have all led to this day and this moment.
Yeah, I've been at F&M since 2011, and this was the first project that I started working on when Larry Shattuck came to me and said he was prepared to make the investment that will let this field come into existence. Oh my goodness, you better take it away.
Well, Eric Harris is certainly taking it away to the 15 and then knocked down from behind. Quick calculation, that is a 47-yard run for E-Money. Eric Harris, and F&M is knocking on the door again for the first time in the second half. It'll be 1st and 10 from the Dickinson 14.
Yeah, but the creation of Shadek Stadium and the acquisition of all of the property that surrounds the stadium really sends us a flare across all the country in higher education. And Franklin Marshall College is here to develop a Division III athletic program that is second to none. We've always been known as a great school with outstanding athletics, outstanding coaches, a great tradition, leadership development. But the creation of this precinct for athletics with Shadek Stadium at the hub allows us to say to great kids and families and schools all around the country that if you would like a superb education, you'd like to play sport at a high level, you'd like to be surrounded by fellow student athletes that care about the life of the mind and that have great character, and you want to play for coaches that see the bigger picture and have it all in proportion, you can have it all at Franklin Marshall College. That's what this facility says. 400 different alums donated to this project. We raised $15 million, $20 million that it cost from the alums and families for this project. And it reflects the love of F&M's people, the school itself. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of it.
Harris up the middle, and he is in. 10-yard touchdown run for Eric Harris, and F&M tacks on a second-half touchdown. It's 55-0. Tomlinson will Wedholm to attempt the extra point with 5:41 to go. As we're talking with Franklin Marshall President Dan Porterfield. And Mr. Porterfield, what have the people that have been part of this, the alumni, some of the donors that have come back this weekend? Certainly you must have talked to a lot of them. What are their impressions of the facility?
Right now there is a sense of exhilaration and euphoria in our alumni and family and faculty and staff community. People are looking around saying, wow, we did it right. This is a tremendous statement. This really will make a mark in education. And every aspect of the stadium is superb, including, by the way, the press box. All the years that you've been doing this and allowing our fan base to follow the team, now you can work in a space that allows you to do your job even better.
Well, I have to be honest. I have to express great gratitude for that. I know it wasn't done for me, but this press box, when I walked in here, I'm like, boy, it's like they built me my own private playground. This is just unbelievable. And not just the booth itself, and if you could see the view, if all our fans could see the view that we have looking at, it's basically like what you're looking at right now, just cocked the angle to the left a little bit. But the toys that we have up here, and we haven't fully unveiled all of them, and some of them you'll never see. They have intercom systems that talk back into my headset and replay in multiple camera angles. I mean, the commitment that F&M has made to providing the fans who can't come to the games, who want to watch at home, to watch a first-rate quality broadcast has been really impressive.
Sport brings such a sense of pride of place and a feeling of community. And we always want to see our kids do their best. We're fortunate that we're part of a tradition where we often end up on the winning side. But it's not about the win. It's about the community, the intensity, family feeling, and the balance of being scholar athletes. I think people are going to really love getting a chance to come out in this field to watch lacrosse as well. We have a great tradition in both sports. And I also think we're going to be able to host lots of gatherings on the field for the Lancaster High School community. The scoreboard is, of course, state-of-the-art as well. You can watch a movie on that scoreboard from the stands. I think the 4th of July, this is going to be a very hot location to watch the fireworks. I foresee high school football games being played in here down the road, and I foresee the alums of the college coming back for all kinds of events that bring us together at Shadek Stadium.
That's Walsh running to the right side. He gets out to about the 40. It'll be second down.
If you look out at Lancaster from the view that we get at the press box, it's also pretty amazing. We can see the center of town from this elevated location. We can see a grass practice field for soccer that we have today. Soon we'll be looking out and seeing a facility for baseball and softball, a track that will have a field hockey field within it. Someday we may need to build the next version of Mazer Arena. And when we do that, that will be located probably just in the behind the scoreboard in a patch we've dedicated for that. This won't happen overnight. It's not a race. It's a steady period of very high aspiration that we have. So
That's really, I would think, I would say to the prospective student athlete at F&M that if you're not a football player and you're not, or a lacrosse player and you're not somebody that's definitely going to take advantage of this facility right here, look at what we've already committed to do and what we've shown that our community can do. There has to be a belief that only good things are going to continue to develop facilities-wise at F&M.
Right. In the last couple of years, we've moved our career center to the center of campus in a new facility, our Office of Student and Postgraduate Development. We've created a brand new state-of-the-art student health and wellness center, which integrates physical wellness and mental wellness in a new facility. And we're now designing and hoping to break ground soon on a spectacular new visual arts facility that will allow our students to do work in film, photography, computer graphics, drawing, painting, sculpture, woodwork, all in this one incredible facility, which will be located behind the Shattuck Library. It was designed by the nationally renowned architect, Stephen Hall. And I think what I hope people think about Franklin and Marshall College always is excellence, that we always, every class and every facility is always at the highest level that can be provided for students to do their very best.
Dickinson has to punt. And it'll be another fair catch for Walter, and F&M will take possession at its own 26-27 yard line.
Down onto the field for the covered wagon ceremony. Although the game's not over yet, there's 3 minutes to go. We're winning 56-0. There's a good chance we're going to win this game and keep the wagon at F&M, which is exciting for me. Last year, the team brought the wagon back and presented it to me. Hard-fought, close game, won on the road in the rain at Dickinson. The first time last year seniors had beaten Dickinson. Now we've got a 2-game winning streak. That's pretty exciting. But I do want to thank, as I leave, you for hosting. I certainly want to thank our coaching staff, all of our athletic staff, who make it possible for Franklin Marshall Athletics to be the high-quality learning experience and community experience that is. So have a great afternoon. And
thank you, Mr. Porterfield, and I'm sure they would all thank you just as much for your part in helping to make all this a reality. That was Dan Porterfield, the president of Franklin Marshall College, who is going to be downstairs for the trophy presentation, as F&M no doubt will be hanging on to the Conestoga Wagon trophy. Only 2 minutes and 47 seconds officially until they can do that. We'll welcome back Jack Keffer. It's just over 2.5 to go. It'll be second down for F&M. Hand it off up the middle. Hartley Vittoria. We've seen a little bit earlier in the season. Gets out to the 42-yard line and first down yardage for the Diplomats. And Jack, this is obviously a very big day for Dan Porterfield. I look at him and I think about there's a really good Brooklyn Dodgers documentary that came out about 10 years ago, and maybe this is not the best because there aren't a lot of great feelings about the man who moved the Dodgers out to Los Angeles in New York, Walter O'Malley. But as he opened and overlooked Dodger Stadium in the early 1960s, and his old GM, Buzzy Bavasi, said, well, I guess it had to be the best day of his life as he looked out on the beauty of that place, which is going to be hosting the World Series in a couple of days, by the way, and seeing that the fans loved it and were soaking it up. You know, it sometimes seems silly to compare our little Division III Nook to something big major league, but for the 2,500 who could sit in the stands here and the folks that ringing the stadium, it had to be the same kind of feeling. We have this beautiful place to ourselves.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sorry for depriving you of Dr. Porterfield, because I would love to listen to him on the broadcast all day. What wonderful words he has to say and everything like that. He's such an captivating guy. And I think he understands the encapsulation of this for all the fans, for all the parents, for the students, and it's pretty cool. I think you can say and look down on this and say, wow, this is something special. This is great.
Dan Porterfield's been president of this school now for just over 6 years. Came in 2011, only a year after I started doing games here, and the previous president of the school had left, I believe, to go to Drexel, if memory serves. I think I've got that one right, and President Porterfield came from Georgetown. I think I'm remembering that correctly, or it could be the other way around.
John Fry went over to Drexel.
Thank you.
And Porterfield's been here for a while. The funny thing is I was talking to some of the alumni, and they said, you know what, it's probably the best 20-year history for F&M because what John Fry did just couldn't have been done now. And what he did was so impressive. And now what Dan Porterfield is doing, he couldn't have done without John Fry. And Porterfield, he always talks about that and how important John Fry's work was and how important his work is now. And it's really starting to come. I think this stadium is such a pinnacle point in that process.
Well, what Jack Donaghy just did, he couldn't have done without Tanner Arisman, the junior quarterback. Arisman had a big first half. Talib Gerald, a big first half. A big first half all around for Franklin and Marshall College. They led 49-0 at halftime. And then the second half, really just a formality. F&M tacks on a touchdown late with all the subs in the game, with the exception of a few starting offensive linemen who do tend to play 60 minutes. It is an easy 56-0 whitewashing of Dickinson, and the Conestoga Wagon Trophy will stay in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And this time the Diplomats will not have to take it from their opponents. They will walk it out to the center of now Shadek Stadium, show it to the fans, hold it up high, and then bring it through the tunnel into their new locker rooms, and they will keep it for another year. F&M will hold on to the Conestoga Wagon Trophy, second consecutive year for the Diplomats to defeat Dickinson. Dickinson now falls to 2-5 in the regular season, 2-4 in the Centennial Conference, and F&M now 6-1 overall, 5-1 in the Centennial Conference. They are no worse than tied flat-footed with Johns Hopkins, although Johns Hopkins now will have the tiebreaker. There are things that can be done about that over the coming weeks if F&M can continue to win. And if F&M plays the way they did today, albeit over increased levels of competition, F&M still has a shot at the Centennial Conference Championship. This was a wall-to-wall perfect performance by the Diplomats today.
Hey, you scored 28 points in the first quarter. That's something special. Pick six there from Jeff Leone. The defense got it done. Joe Granahan. It was all over that offensive line for Dickinson. And boy, you got to talk about the wide receivers too. And Talib Gerald. Gerald had such a great day. 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. And he's going to be one of the 3 members to carry that wagon to his team.
And there they go right now, Leone, Gerald, and Mike Sullivan. They hold it high. Most years it's just a tad less dramatic. Thank you. We get a look at that happy group. Just a touch less dramatic for the team when they already have it, when they're not taking it away from the team that beat them last year. F&M was the winner last year and is the winner again this year. But little different now because they are christening Tom Gilbert Field, and they will celebrate right by Tom Gilbert Field, by the name Tom Gilbert Field. And there's Dan Porterfield. He was just with me. Now he's down there on your screen.
And Larry Shattuck as well.
Good catch there, Jack. And John Troxel there as well. We've talked about this ad infinitum, but just a lot of pride and a lot of good feeling out there today. How could it feel any different?
And you know, for the second time this week, looks like Larry Shattuck is going to talk to this F&M football team after, of course, John Troxel talks to them, the head man himself.
Well, this is a day, not your typical football win. This is a day that everybody shared in this. And what a privilege for you and me, just for our tiny little part of it.
My gosh, an absolute privilege. Beautiful press box, beautiful field, and we got to christen it.
I got to get a walk through last Sunday, and I just couldn't wait to get to Saturday once that happened, and went to bed so excited last night to get up in the morning and know that this is how I was going to spend my day. And this is the first of many, I'm hoping. We've got another one in 3 weeks. F&M will be hosting Gettysburg, final game of the season. There'll be the Lincoln Hat Day. And after that, just like baseball, football will leave us to face the winter alone. But it's not a long winter when you've got lacrosse starting in February. And with this field, it's going to make that winter seem a little bit longer, because we'll be excited to get started. We have 2 championship caliber teams here in Lancaster, but that's down the road. Right now, championship caliber football being played by Franklin and Marshall. They are still tied for first place. They are still in the running for a Centennial Conference championship, and they got back in the saddle today in a big way, 56-0 over Dickinson. Jack, anything final to add? Because I think we've covered so much today, I don't even know where else to go with it.
I guess see you guys in 3 weeks. Back here again.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Just any chance to come and work in this broadcast booth with this first-rate equipment that we have here, yeah, I'm ready to do it again in 3 weeks. So until then, for Jack Heffer, I'm Phil Soto Ortiz. For everybody in the Franklin and Marshall community who was part of this, what a day. What a wonderful day for Franklin and Marshall College. 56-0 over Dickinson, and that's just a part of it. We'll see you again in 3 weeks. F&M and Gettysburg, another rivalry game. F&M might be shooting for 9-1 if they can keep it going. We wish them luck next week. Just check out GoDiplomats.com for broadcast information. F&M taking on Moravian next Saturday.